And how is it going, everyone? Welcome to I Wanna Take the Time Machine 2. And today I decided to start 15 minutes earlier than usual because I really want to take down this asshole today. I really want to finish this today, and even if 15 minutes is not that big of a deal, any time that I can use to try and take this guy down today, I'm gonna take it. Because he's been alive for way too long. Like, look at this right here. That thing, that number up there, that's 8 hours. Well, 8 hours and 9 minutes and a half. So yes, he has to go down today. And I've been getting pretty close, in fact. I basically broke him down to 41 points of health. But that really doesn't mean much when you really think about it. I mean it means that you're really close, but you know, in bosses like this, where almost every second you can be killed at any second, I don't think it really matters that much that you are close. There is a huge difference, especially in long fights like this one. Being close to killing is really far from actually doing it. And that's also because RNG plays a big factor here. So it's not really close to being the same, sadly. And there is also, a great example that I can put, PDH, which is an attack in one of the Touhou games. I tried beating that attack for quite a long time, and I've been close to beating it like 10 times, and yet I still can't get it. So basically what I'm trying to say is that in this kind of games, being close to finishing something is pretty different from actually finishing it. I mean, that might sound obvious, yeah, no shit, but the thing is, it's pretty different in the sense that I might still take hours to get back to that point. Which is unfortunate, but it has to happen. It has to happen. Can't be any other way. Oh, that's the first time that I get the reverse controls on this one. Fuck. That's the first time that I get reverse control on that attack. Well, honestly, in this attack, getting reverse controls doesn't really change much, since you literally just gotta control your jumping, not really your direction that much. Mostly because your direction is always gonna be on one side. Either from left to right or from right to left. So, yeah, I guess this attack might be one of the easiest ones to do when you have reversed controls. I still fucked up, as you can see, so definitely not probably the easiest, but it's around there. So yeah, I really want to get rid of this fight, and if it can be today, that's great. That's gonna be sweet if it can happen today. But it's impossible to know. It really is. But at least, I think I gotta say that, funnily enough, this fight is the most I wanna be the guy portion of this game. I know that might sound a little bit stupid, but I think the rest of the game didn't really play that much like an I wanna be the guy game. And this one, like this fight, still with the mechanics about pointing upwards and all of that, it really is also different, but the sheer amount of bullshit that this fight has, coupled with the fact that, you know, it's a final boss, it definitely feels pretty like I wanna be the guy. You know that it's pretty rare to hear that after struggling with this for so long, but I feel that it really is. It might be the best part in the game too. Though I also gotta admit that reverse controls at the end is absolute bullshit. But if we ignore that, this is a really well done fight. I mean, I will still make it maybe a little bit shorter. Like, instead of making the damage so fucking horseshit, maybe I will do the patterns faster or something like that. If you want it to last for a long time, right? Like, sure, you can make the patterns faster or something, so that way you are forced to dodge more patterns, I guess. But the way it is right now, it really feels like your character, or rather the gun that you're using, is a piece of trash, and it is. But I feel that that's something that you should never feel. Like, you should be feeling that instead of your gun is the one that is trash, is that the boss is the one that is powerful. I don't feel that here. Well, I mean, the boss is clearly powerful, but it feels more than, you know, like my gun is a complete piece of trash rather than the boss being really powerful. It doesn't help that this game features different guns other than this one. But I feel that that's something that I will change. Like, I will try to make the boss feel powerful instead of trying to make the character feel weak. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's the same shit. It will be the same difficulty. But at some point I legitimately thought that using pistol only was reserved for tryhards. Like, you were actually supposed to farm for the other guns, but it seems that that's not truly the case. So, it's alright. At the very least, I guess I'm more relieved knowing that a lot of people got it with the pistol. Obviously those people are way better at fun games than me, but you know, the point is, it's not only doable, but it's also not that big of a restraint. So I like it. You know, there are some games where that's really not the case at all, especially old games, right? I'm not talking about fun games necessarily, but games in general, where basically you have multiple options to tackle the game, and there is one way or multiple ways of tackling the game that is clearly not the intended way, but you can do it regardless. And one example that comes to my mind is a really old game called Evo for the Super Nintendo, I think. In that game you can be multiple species from the, you know, the prehistoric era. You can also be a human. Thing is, the human is fucking trash. So if you use the human in that game, you are clearly handicapping yourself. So yeah. If you could summarize your stream into one word, what word would that be? That word will be Gabi. Because that stream is all about that. It's all about me and the games I play. So I think that that will be the word that I will summarize it in. How is it going, Yami? Pepiga? No. They say Pepega, but no. I will summarize my stream with the word Gabi. Because when you think about it, there really is no thematic for this stream. Like, what does Touhou have in common with Horizon Chase, with Dark Souls, with I Wanna Be the Guy, with, you know, multiple other games that I played? There is nothing in common with that. So the only thing that those streams have in common is me. So I personally think that that will be the word that will represent my stream better than any other word. Does that answer your question? Hopefully. Hey Drano, how is it going? Wow, you say that my stream should be represented with people leave? Huh. You say into one word. Those are not words. Those are emotes, you fucking stoners. You wanted a word? I just got here. I don't even know what you're talking about. Well, Yami asked me with what word I will summarize my stream, and I say that the only fitting word is Gabi. That's literally the only thing that this stream is about. I know that that might sound pretty narcissistic, and it probably is, but to be completely honest, that's the only topic that all the streams have in common. I don't really play any game in particular. I just play what I want to play. People Live is pretty good sometimes, but not as good as Gabi. That's the perfect one. It's alright. I know you were expecting me to say something like stoner or, you know, some, you know, juvenile thing, as you like to say, but nope. You instead got a serious answer. What you gonna do about it? Oh. You know, it's okay. I mean, it is the way it is. It's all about the Oshi. It's all about the Oshi. And also all about struggling. More importantly, struggling, right? More about struggling than Gabi. Well, I guess you could say Gabi struggling, but those are two words. Anyways, you know, I've been thinking, now that you're here, Yami, that when I think about it, my my programmer knowledge, I mean, obviously, when it comes to programming, you can apply the fundamentals to programming to any language that is not assembly or anything like that. But to be quite honest, like, the only thing that I really know how to handle, it really seems to be JavaScript, and most importantly, JavaScript with Angular. And the problem with that is that Angular is apparently a framework that is dead because it deserves to be dead because it fucking sucks. I'm talking about Angular 2. So it's a problem because imagine if someone wants me to do a job in React. right? The framework React for JavaScript. I mean, obviously I can get used to it, but it's like I will need to actually study. I'll need to actually put in some work before I can even start coding. It's pretty fucked up when I think about it. Angular in 2020. I mean, the bank doesn't seem to mind that we are using Angular. So there is that. Oof. Missiles. Oh shit. Oh fuck me. Oh no. Okay, okay. Calm down. And inverted controls, dude. Okay. Nice. Uh-oh. Oh, this is bad. Okay, gotcha. Oh, fuck me. Oh, no. Okay, this is terrible. Nice. Again? It's really hard to handle the reverse controls there. Nice thing about React is that it doesn't need much memorization. It's more vanilla JS. Angular is like memorization central. Well, but that's the thing. You don't really need to memorize. I mean, sorry, my throat might be a little bit bad today, but I was trying to say everything about Angular or pretty much any programming language, any framework, anything related to programming, you can just Google it. You don't need to memorize. NG Foreskin. And is that how you name your directives? Alright. Can't say I'm surprised. Motherfucker. But you know, as I'm saying, like, there is no need for memorization in anything. I mean, the only things that I kinda memorize are really basic stuff that I do every day. But, you know, if you don't remember anything, you should Google it. That's why we are programmers. I mean, we don't need to memorize shit. If internet is at our disposal, you have to use it. There is no reason to not use it. It's kind of like when some people say that you should not program with IDEs because, you know, they hinder your, you know, your programming abilities, whatever that's supposed to mean. But no, you have to use every tool at your disposal. That's the whole point. Why would you limit yourself? And I feel that memorizing stuff is definitely limiting yourself. There is absolutely no reason for it. There's definitely no reason for limiting yourself when you're programming. But it's okay. Okay, I'll take that. I'll definitely take that. Aww. I have been trying to learn front-end dev for fun. Shit's terrible. Yeah, you are terrible. You know how we say that? We say PSI. Programmer skill issue. So yeah. Stop complaining and get good. What about that? What do you think about that? But next you're gonna complain about input lag. You're gonna complain that your notepad editor has input lag. Is that what you're gonna do? The only thing that can... How is it going, Cole? I don't need to read that. We say front-end devs masquerading as developers. Yeah. That's called being jealous. You are jealous that we get to do cool shit and you don't. I'm just kidding, okay? Before you think that I'm calling you a bad programmer or something like that, I'm just kidding. And before someone at Twitch gets triggered because of that, well, no, actually, if anything, at Twitch they will be glad that I'm defending front-end developers. Yeah, if anything, they will be on my side, but it's okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure the only developers that Twitch has are front-end developers. I think the ones in the back end left a long time ago. But maybe, you never know. Yeah, that was too ambitious. Staying in the center for that attack is way too ambitious. Well, in any case, the point is get good. Besides, I'm pretty sure you know front-end. What are you talking about? Pretty sure you know JavaScript. Why are you saying that you try getting into it? I'm pretty sure you know, right? Right? Or maybe not. I know, but I don't know properly. Is there anything to know properly? Because that's the thing about programming. Like, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know enough to do what you gotta do. I mean, I don't know everything there is to know about JavaScript, right? I know enough to do stuff. You don't need to know everything. So that's why I say that there is not such a thing as knowing a programming language properly. I mean, it's not like knowing the exact way of how it works. It's not like that's gonna be useful. As a translator, I don't know every word in English. Yeah, exactly. Like, there is, well, when it comes to, well, I guess you can also say programming language here comparing it to human languages, but basically, yeah, there is not such a thing about knowing properly, as long as you can use it to do the stuff you need to do. I mean, for example, I know about Java way less than an actual full-time Java programmer will know. So what? I can use Java to do my shit, and it works. So, I don't know. I don't think there are many people who know a programming language properly except the people that made it. And again, there is no reason to know it properly. I'm learning how to use Adobe Illustrator and I learn what I need on the go. Yeah, I mean, I also learn new things about JavaScript every day. Well, probably not every day, but I mean, I keep learning about JavaScript despite being pretty much my job. I mean, well, it is literally my job. But I'm trying to say that You never stop learning. It's a never-ending process. It's just that at some point you know enough to be able to make it a job of yours. Then everything else just adds to your knowledge. Jesus Christ, that's so fast. When did the stream become educational? I always talk about things, well, not always, but a lot of times I'll talk about things related to programming. I mean, it's my show after all. It would be weird if I didn't talk anything about it. But yeah, you know, the thing is, it also applies to human languages as well. I also don't know literally every word in Spanish despite being my native language. I also don't know every single rule there is. So what? Nobody knows. Maybe some linguistic, and not even them, I'm pretty sure, know everything that there is to know. And the point is that you don't need to. It's just not necessary. That's also true, by the way, with Japanese, right? But the problem with Japanese, and the reason why I complain so much about it, is because in order to just be able to understand at a minimum level, the floor is incredibly high. I mean, that's basically the main factor for languages. It's not about how high the ceiling is. Like, nobody really cares that much about that. It's about how low the floor is. How easy it is to get into a minimum basic level. That's what truly matters here. Everything else is just secondary. I mean, well, it's secondary as long as you don't care about actually doing something related to the language itself, as in being a linguistic. But most of the times that's not the case, especially in a language that you are not native in. So yeah. Fuck. The problem is always all people. The reason we all think we need to know everything is because all of those tools like Google, YouTube didn't exist back then. They had to learn it that way. That's why they teach you that you need to learn things by heart. Well, yeah, there is also a bit of that. But thankfully, when it comes to programming, there aren't many old people. Well, yes, there are old people that work as programmers back in the, 80s and shit like that, but they were a really small minority. So thankfully, when it comes to programming, you don't really have too many elitists, and the few elitists that are there, everyone knows that they are absolute freaks that you should not talk to in the first place. So, I think that's the good thing about programming. Obviously that's gonna happen eventually, because at some point programming is gonna become something old as well. And there are gonna be people like me that when they get old, obviously the programming is gonna be done in some other way than how it's done today. Well, that's when it depends on me on how to teach the newer generations, right? But right now it's basically just absolutely free shit. you know, free in the sense that nobody's gonna blame you too much for doing something that might not be considered the old way. Especially in a country like this one, where obviously programming came way after the countries like USA and all of that. So yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good. So yeah, pretty much the point. Uh-oh. We almost got fucked there. Easy there. And of course, it's the fucking laser, the one that finishes me off. Man, how different this fight would have been if that attack wasn't there. How different. Pretty different, in fact. It will be something that I could probably call a really good fight. Well, without the reversal of controls too. Yeah. Can you believe it? But, yeah. Programming and shit. It's cool. It's cool especially because nobody cares about quality. You can be the shittiest programmer ever, and as long as you make things work, nobody's gonna bat an eye. So there is that. I tried to do my best, but you really don't need to, as long as you make things work. As long as you make things work, nobody's gonna care. Though I guess that also changes from a company to company, right? There might be some companies that are pretty strict. I know that mine is definitely not one of those. I can definitely tell you that. And I'm glad that that's the case. Really, really glad. I wonder what will happen if I do a coding stream at some point. Like, imagine if I try to teach programming on stream. How will that even go? That probably will go really badly. Yeah, it probably will be a bad idea. That will be interesting. I mean, it will be interesting, but I don't think it will be... There will be many people interested, that's the thing. Because, you know... See, for example here... Even if there were nice. Even if there were not a single person interested in this fight, at the very least, I get the satisfaction of beating it. Hey Pedro Spirta, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. But yeah, I was about to say that, you know, when it's a game, even if nobody gives a fuck, at least I get the satisfaction of playing. But when it's about teaching, it's literally a different thing, because when I teach something, someone has to be there to listen, because otherwise what's the point? And I don't really think many people really give a shit about learning programming that way. Well, there is also the fact that even if in Twitch there is not much interest, I can always re-upload it on YouTube. But, nah, I don't know. There is also that thing that I like teaching, which is different than liking being a teacher. But, you know, I mean, well, I guess if you teach, you are literally a teacher, but I mean, I guess I mean teacher as a profession is the one that I will definitely not like having. Like, imagine that. I really will not be able to stand that. That will be really annoying. But yeah. It is teaching through Twitch. Yeah, that's a different thing. Especially, you can teach however you want and whatever you want. Yeah, no, I know that. But yeah, maybe, I mean, if at some point it gets uploaded to YouTube, but then again, there are literally thousands of videos that already teach you how to program. And I'm pretty sure a lot of them are made by actual teachers. You know, people that actually know how to teach instead of someone who just knows the topic. As you know, obviously knowing how to teach and knowing the topic that you're teaching are two different things. I mean, obviously, in order to teach, you need to know the topic. But, you know, just knowing the topic is not enough to teach. You also need to know how to teach. And I literally never done any of that, like any course to learn about teaching or anything like that, so I don't know. And there's also a thing about programming which obviously you need the knowledge, but a lot of time is more about knowing the tools. So a big portion of the teaching will be teaching how to install programs and then going to programming, to the programming stuff. Like, first I will need to be like, okay, you need to install this server to run, you know, your shit. You need this program to edit the software, right? Like, you know, I teach at uni and I never done any course. Well, yeah, I know that there is people like that. I mean, my teachers at university, some of them you could really tell that they never done anything to know how to teach. That they literally just know about the topic and that's it. I mean, some of them also have a job regarding what they teach, but they don't really know about teaching itself, which is mostly, you know, the people that really like to use slideshows, right? Well, I don't know if they are called slideshow, but you know, the PowerPoint presentations, right? Those are pretty much the ones that really don't know shit about teaching. Well, I mean, there might be one of those that uses PowerPoint presentations and actually knows how to teach. But most of them really just pretend that people will, you know, just watch the PowerPoint presentation and be done with it, right? But yeah, now that you've seen this presentation, now you learn the topic. Yeah. People with degrees use PowerPoints. No, but as I said, I'm not saying that every single person that uses PowerPoint presentations doesn't know how to teach. But usually, the people that don't know how to teach use PowerPoint as their greatest shield. Because they are like, here, look at this. You understand now? Good. And usually when someone asks about what's in the presentation, they are like, they explain literally the same shit that is in the presentation but with different words. And sometimes not even with different words, sometimes they repeat it as if, you know, you could learn something just by repeating it over and over again. Well, I mean, that's true only with some stuff. But only with some stuff, not really everything, so... Yeah, the point is, I've seen a lot of not so good teachers use PowerPoint presentations and nothing else. Or PDF, I mean, whatever you want to use, but the point is that they should show something on a screen, and sometimes they even read what's in there out loud, right? As if that will change things. But yeah, pretty much that's how I felt that it was. Thankfully, my programming teachers were more about practical teaching than theory. So we will just go right to the coding just like that, and that allowed us to actually learn the best way. Well, you say that your teacher uses PowerPoints only to be graphic about what she teaches. What I say is, some teachers use PowerPoints as literally their only tool for teaching. As in, as I say, they show the presentation, they read it out loud, and that's it. That's how they teach. No additional commentary, no examples, or if there is an example, the same one that is in the presentation. And I mean, that can be useful in some topics. But there are a lot of other topics, especially those that require you to think in a specific way, just like programming does, that you just can give a PowerPoint presentation. But you know, I mean, I wasn't thinking of doing that either, but what I'm saying is that, yeah, there are those, they are in the wild, out there, quote unquote teaching. I got lots of those. Yeah, it's pretty sad because, you know, I don't know. It could be better for everyone. I mean, teaching can be fun, but it's definitely not gonna be fun for the teacher if the only thing that they are doing is, you know, reading something from a screen. That's gonna be a fucking pain in the ass. Understandably so. Nice. Oh. That was close. the missiles. Oh fuck. The reverse controls are so fucked up with the missiles. Damn it! And there I can't even blame the reverse controls because there were none. Fuck me, dude. It's okay. We need to get this, one way or another. We clearly understand that the biggest problem of this fight is the laser. That's something that I already acknowledge. But even acknowledging that, it's tough. Because even when it's not the laser, there are other attacks that, as you've seen, they can be quite a problem. And they are quite a problem. And this is so intense. I can tell you right now, for those who are interested in programming, programming is way easier than this fucking fight. Which I don't know if that really is something that is encouraging. But the point is, yeah, programming is easier than a fucking video game. So, if one of you is interested in it, don't be afraid just because you think it's hard. Because I can assure you that it's not harder than the piece of shit you're looking in the screen. Definitely not harder than this. Well, I'm not saying that you can learn programming in 10 hours. I'm just saying that the amount of effort that you have to put in is definitely not more than the amount of effort that you have to put for this piece of shit. So yeah. Hopefully that helps you, you know. Yeah, I'm making progress with this boss fight. Yesterday I was literally 45 health points away from killing him. But you know, it was a hard combination, the one that I got. It was basically the missile attack with reverse controls, and that's really hard to deal with. That's really, really hard, but you know. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. It has to happen. Hey, maybe in the meantime I can teach programming. What about that? What about that? Teaching programming while I try defeating this shithead. Nah, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be a good idea. I mean, after all, I can talk a lot, but the main point about programming is showing practical stuff, right? I can say a bunch of shit here, but that's not really gonna help you. But you know, if you want to know where to start, well, I guess I could say that. Where do you start, right? Since programming and computers, it's such a broad topic that you might be lost, not knowing where you start your journey. Well, that really depends on what you want to do. If you want to be self-taught, or if you want to actually have classes with someone. Well, if you actually have classes with someone, they will let you know where to start from. But yeah, I guess it only applies for people that are self-taught. Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting thing that I never actually taught myself because I went to university. I didn't learn programming by searching on the internet, but you know, yeah, I guess it could be quite a challenge, right? To self-teach you programming. I mean, you can do it, but I used to learn this by myself, but I'm too old to take the time to learn things by myself. Yeah, I guess it can also happen that way, but the point is, well, I really don't know what I could tell you, because there are many ways that you could start. I mean, obviously what I will recommend you is going with JavaScript, though Yami might disagree. You know, Yami, if you're still there, what language will you recommend someone to start with when it comes to learning programming? Like, my solid choice will be JavaScript, mostly because how easy it is to handle, and more importantly, how easy it is to deploy. But I know that might not be a pretty popular opinion, mostly because it might teach you some pretty bad habits. I mean, obviously a lot of people, when they are met with that question, they should go with Java. You wanna learn programming, go with Java. It's not a bad idea, but I feel that when it comes to Java, it's really hard to see your progress, right? Like, I feel that with JavaScript you can clearly see what you're doing. You can clearly see the program that you should go to run. But when it comes to Java, it's a little bit harder, because Java is mostly a language that it's used as a back-end language. Back-end means basically just a server that sends information on request, right? Learning programming with JavaScript is Pepega, you turn into a shit programmer. Alright, that seems to be a pretty, you know, pretty definitive opinion there. But see, the reason why I say JavaScript, as I was just saying, is that you can actually see what you're doing. If you program with Java, most of the stuff that you will be doing at the beginning will literally just be making programs that print something in the Windows console, or in the whatever console you're using, right? And I mean, obviously that will help you know the basics of programming. But the problem with that is that I think that definitely wouldn't give you motivation to keep going, because you wouldn't even understand why you're doing what you're doing. You will be like, alright, but why would I want to know how to print a fucking line in console? Why would I want a program that does that, right? And it's not about learning or not there. I think it will be more about, as I said, motivation. I don't think that doing console programs will really help with motivation. But then there is the problem that if you do desktop programs with Java or really with any other language that has desktop applications, the problem is that you will be like, what is all this shit that I have to learn, right? What is it? Like, what is this class about frames? What's this? Why will I give a shit about this? Or rather, instead of asking that question, you would rather say something like, this is too much to learn, right? I think it's mostly because when you're just starting, you will want to comprehend everything that you are seeing. And if you go the Java route and you want to see the progress of what you're writing, you will need to use all of these classes that you won't understand at first, because they aren't made for teaching, they are made to be used. The same applies to C#, by the way, or literally, as I said, any other language that it's about building desktop applications. However, when it comes to JavaScript, I feel that there are less things to understand at the beginning. Like, you can understand slowly but surely, and at the same time know and see the progress of what you're doing. But I don't think you can get that with many other programming languages, which is the reason why I think JavaScript might be a good language to start. Obviously, if you go the JavaScript route, you will need to also learn HTML and CSS. Those are not programming language, but are, you know, well, one of them is a language, it's not a programming one, it's a markup language. And the other one is more of a set of rules than a language, right? Not really worth calling it a language when it comes to CSS, I think. Well, maybe it is considered a language, but the point is, you will have to learn those two alongside JavaScript, which might be overwhelming at first, but I think it makes more sense for it to be that way. But I don't know. What will you do, Yami? Like, I know your opinion that JavaScript is a bad language to start programming. Okay. But what will be a good language to start programming? Like, what will you say it's the best way? Because, I mean, you can learn programming without having... Well, I mean, you can learn pseudocode, but I don't think anyone really teaches with pseudocode anymore, understandably so. Right? Like, what will you do in that situation? If you were in charge of a programming course and you needed to pick a language for the students to start learning, which one will you pick? That's a really good question, I feel. I think that's a really good question to say to any programmer. It's good to see what their points of view might be, right? Jesus Christ, the reverse on this attack. Pretty fucked up. Uh-oh. Okay, if you reverse me on the laser, dude, that's a big move. I don't know. Alright. Well, that's a honest answer. I think Python is popular as beginner language. But doesn't that really... Oh, you don't agree, okay, because I was out to say, if that's what you think, then there is no reason for you to not like JavaScript, because Python is pretty much JavaScript with some slight differences, but it's pretty much the same idea. An interpreted language that takes a lot of liberties and might teach some bad habits. A lot of units switch to Python from Java. Yeah, but as I was saying, if they have no problem with Python, then they definitely should have no problem with Java. I understand that there is with JavaScript, I mean, not with Java. I understand that there is a substantial difference there. Python is used as a backend language, and JavaScript is pretty much the only front-end language, right? But the thing is, programming is still programming, whether it is JavaScript or Java or any other backend language. And if anything, sooner or later you will have to learn JavaScript. Well, not necessarily, right? If you are solely a backend developer, you don't need to. But, you know, most of the times, if you go with web development, I mean, well, obviously, if you go with web development, of course you will need to learn JavaScript, but it feels that it's always useful to know JavaScript. As I said, it's literally the only, well, I mean, there might be others, but it's the only programming language used in the front end by, you know, 90%, 99.9% of web pages. I mean, I know that there are some other really old programming languages that are not JavaScript, that are meant to front end, but I don't think they are used anymore, right? I don't really think they are. And even if you write your code in a different language from the back end, it will still be interpreted as JavaScript by the browser, as far as I understand. Well, unless your web page is literally only backend stuff, like in the old web page, that the only thing that the front end has is HTML and CSS, and then everything else it's in the back end. Damn, that's pretty fucked up. But yeah, the old pages were like that. They didn't use JavaScript. You know, that's obviously not the case anymore. I don't know, I personally think that JavaScript is a good language to start learning programming. But the important thing here is that you know what's a bad habit and what's not. Because JavaScript will allow you to do a lot of stuff that you shouldn't do, right? Like, JavaScript allows it. But it's kind of like, you know, driving a car, right? I mean, when you drive a car will let you drive over a pedestrian, right? You know, you can just drive over people, killing them in the process. That's possible. That's something that the car allows you to do. But that's definitely not something that you should be doing. Well, JavaScript is kinda like that too. Well, I mean, not that extreme, but the point is, there is a lot of shit that you should not do that is something that JavaScript allows you to do. Which, compared to other programming languages, they definitely will not allow you to. So yeah. Obviously, for that you will need someone telling you what's the good thing and what are the bad things, right? But yeah, the point is, as long as you understand that everything that can be done is not really something that you should be doing, that's what matters. Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead, I fucked up. We shouldn't be running over people. Yeah, I think that's the case. Well, I mean, I haven't taken driving classes, so I might be wrong, but yeah, I think you are not supposed to do that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Might be wrong, but yeah. Oh yeah. The first step to do that, however, will be downloading a program. Like, if you want to learn programming through JavaScript, you first need a program that hosts a server that can run that JavaScript code, right? I mean, well, no. The one that's gonna run the JavaScript code is gonna be the browser, your internet browser. But you need a server that actually displays that information. Well, I mean, you really don't need a server. You can just do it on the browser developer tools, but obviously that's way harder and not really a good tool for learning from scratch. So you will need a program like, well, I don't know what people use nowadays, but back when I was learning programming, I used a program called SAMP, SAMPP, which is basically a program that runs a server in your computer in which you can display a web page. And obviously that web page is gonna be an HTML file. I mean, the HTML file is gonna be what you see when you enter the URL in your browser, and from there you execute the JavaScript. I mean, the HTML is the one that specifies the JavaScript file, and then the rest is done by the browser. The browser is the one that interprets that JavaScript file and runs it. So that's the first thing you will need. You will need a program that does exactly that. So yeah, my specific recommendation is SAMP. As I said, it's SAMPP. Once you have that, the next thing you need, it's a text editor. Well, technically, when it comes to text editor, you obviously already have one with Windows, right? Windows have a text editor that you might know that is called Notepad. But what's the problem with Notepad? The problem with Notepad is that it's a piece of trash. So, instead of using Notepad, well, I mean, it's a piece of trash for programming, okay? It does the job for just, you know, writing shit. But if you need to actually code, you actually need a more powerful editor than just the default Notepad editor from Windows. So in that case, you will use something like, for example, Visual Studio Code. That's a program developed by Microsoft that is absolutely free to use. And you get everything from the get-go. No payment, no bullshit needed. Just type Visual Studio Code in Google and you get it. Well, that's also the case of the previous program that I mentioned, SAMP. That's also free to download and everything. So once you have those two things, that's when you can start doing some shit. I will recommend you, well, if there is a simple SAMP tutorial on YouTube, to read it, or well, not read it, to watch it. And then from there, it's basically trying to learn the basics of programming, which obviously is the, well, hard part, right? But you know, it's all about knowing the basics. And that will basically be what, if at some point I do some programming language, some programming tutorial as a stream, that will be what I will try to explain. I mean, I can explain them right now, but it's pretty pointless, because the whole, I mean, you're basically gonna be listening to it, but it's gonna enter from one ear and it's gonna come out of the other one. Because if you're not actually seeing and you just imagine what I say, that's not gonna be useful. But you know, maybe it might serve as a guide, maybe not, I don't know. Prepare a PPT. Need some PowerPoint. Well, just so you have... Wow, that really hit me. That's horseshit. That did not hit me. Alright, sure, that hit me. Well, if you ever need to know what you should be first looking at, well, you will first need to know, I mean, I will say execution sequence is the most important thing to know from the get-go. Knowing that every line in most programming languages are read from top to bottom, right? And every line should be its own sentence, and every sentence is read one after the other from top to bottom. That's the first thing that you should know. In most programming languages, sentences are ended with a semicolon. JavaScript allows you to not finish them with a semicolon. You can finish them by just entering a new line. That's one of the things that I mentioned before. JavaScript allows you to do stuff that you shouldn't do. Well, that's one of those. If it's possible, you should always end a sentence with a semicolon. Always. I mean, most programmers won't mind seeing a semicolon not being there if it works, but you know, it's definitely something that is not gonna help you for other programming languages. Uh-oh, fuck. Those even what? Is that all English? Because if that's all English, I don't know all English, bro. Come on, give me a break. What's that supposed to mean? Well, in any case, that's the first thing to know, what sentences are. You know, just basically, you could say that a sentence represents a process. Or, well, more, I don't know if I should say process, because it could be confused with the Windows denomination of processes, which is basically just programs running. It's more like an operation. An operation that most of the time consists on assigning a value to, you know, assigning a value to store it somewhere, doing an arithmetical operation, doing a logical operation, or calling another group of sentences, right? Another group of operations. Those are usually the basic, you know, the basic meaning of a sentence. It's just an operation, right? A basic operation. JS those fucking hoisting so you can assign before declaration. I guess not in modern JS. No, you can still do that. But, you know, well, that's another one of the things that you shouldn't do. But we are still not there. Well, that's the next thing that you should learn. Variables. Variables are pretty much one of the most basic things about programming. Basically, variables, as the name suggests, are values that can change. Well, more than values, I will say that they are pieces of data that can change its value. So for example, I can have a variable named number, right? Well, that's a pretty shitty name. I mean, usually names of variables should always be representative of what they are trying to store, right? So, for example, let's say that you're doing a web page to, well, I say web page because that's what JavaScript is used for, right? So you do a web page where you want to display, well, the most basic program that you can do, which is basically the sum of two numbers, right? So you have in one variable one of the numbers that is gonna be added to another number, and I guess in that case using the name number to represent the variable might be the most fitting one. Well, the thing about the variable is that it's used to store a value, and when I say store, I don't mean store as in a file, I mean store as in memory. You know RAM? The famous RAM that a lot of people tell you how you have to download more RAM. You know that RAM? Well, RAM is basically what stores these values, these variables. It's basically a memory that is temporary, different from the one where the files are saved to. RAM is only saved temporarily until the program stops being executed, right? So here, that's where your variable will be stored. And you want to store it because obviously you want to use it later. So, wait a second. Let me concentrate because, you know, trying to dodge with reverse controls while I play programming is not a really good idea. It's really not a good idea, I can tell you that. Uh-oh. Jesus Christ. Uh-oh. Ah, man, this fucking attack, dude. I hate this fucking attack so much. You have no idea how much I hate this attack. Not as much as the laser, though. Oh, speaking of the devil. Jesus, and I actually dodged it with reverse controls. Ah, man. That's hard. That attack is hard. Like, Jesus, 76, dude. 76. 7. No, 7, 6. Not 6, 7. Fuck. That's less than 10%. In fact, if we want to get specific, that's almost 5%. Well, it's not even my best attempt, by the way. I had an attempt that, as I told you earlier this stream, it went to 41 or 43, something like that. Fuck, dude. But you know, as you can see, what you can see with that is that we are definitely close. We are there. But not yet. So close, and yet so far. Anyways, I was explaining variables. Well, I mean, I honestly think that explaining programming is a really good way to pass the time when I have nothing else to talk about. Even if nobody understands it in the end. I guess it's kind of refreshing, maybe. I mean, I can do it if there is a situation where I definitely have to focus. But while I'm in these first attacks, I guess I can do it. But yeah, basically I was saying about variables. The point of variables is that they store values that they change, obviously. That's why they are called variables, as opposed to constants. Constants are also pieces of information, right? It's something that stores a value, but as the word suggests, it's constant. It doesn't change. But the point is that both variables and constants are what are used to, you know, as a basic tool to program, right? So you know, you can have a variable that stores a number, and for example, that number, obviously you can assign it on the spot, right? But most of the times you take that value from somewhere else. So for example, in a web page, you can take the number from a user input. You take it and you store it in a variable, right? The thing here, and the big catch that JavaScript allows you to do, but it shouldn't allow you to do, is basically the way you declare a variable, right? So when you declare a variable, in most programming languages, you have to use some sort of reserved word that the language has to make sure, like to make clear that what you're doing there is creating a variable. JavaScript doesn't have that, or rather, you can do that, but you also cannot do that. So my recommendation is always doing it, so you know when a variable is new and when it's not new. Not in JS, it just attaches directly to the global object. I don't give a shit what it does in, you know, in the backstage. That's something that the person that is learning programming right now doesn't care about and doesn't have to care about, because that's some stuff that you will see later. The point is, you can create a variable, or a better way of saying it is declaring a variable by you know, specifying the reserved word var, which obviously is a short for variable. And after that, after you type the word var, and after a white space, you put the name of the variable. And that's where you can use literally anything you want as a name. You can name the variable Dick if you want to. Yami will do that, I'm sure. But you know, the point is, variables can have any name you want. And that's one of those things that is what you can do versus what you should do. When you name a variable, as I said, you name it regarding what it's gonna do. So if you're storing in that variable the age of a person, you're not gonna call that variable hot dog. You're gonna call it age, right? So always pick a proper name, because otherwise everyone is gonna hate you, including myself. I mean, if you're fine with that, I mean, sure, go ahead. But, you know, that's not something that you should do only for other people. That's something that you should do for yourself too. See, the thing about coding is, a lot of time is you revisit your own code. Also, you revisit some other people's code, right? But you might revisit a code that you yourself did years ago, and when you read it, you're obviously not gonna remember what that code was about. So a way to quickly understand what it was about is by reading the names of variables, functions, and all of that. So don't use any stupid ass names just because you want to. Use a name that identifies the purpose of that variable, right? Hard to mention what is hard not to mention what is engulfing your mind constantly. And fuck both of you. Anyways, the point is, yeah, pick a proper name, and then you can assign a value or not. I mean, usually that's what variables are for. You assign a value to them, because otherwise they are pretty much worthless. I mean, sometimes they can have a value that is not there, but you know, the point is that their idea is that at some point they are expected to hold a value. So you can do that in the declaration by using the equals operator. You just type equals and then you type, you know, the value. Or you can assign it afterwards, after you declare the variable. I guess what's next to explain is that variables can be of different types. So yes, you can have different types of variables. In JavaScript, you know, some variable types can be a little bit hard to explain, but there are basically three very basic values, or sorry, not values, three very basic types. You basically have number, string, and boolean. Number, I think that's self-explanatory. It's supposed to store a number. Yes, I know it's hard to guess, but yeah, that's what it does. And that number can be either, you know, an integer number, you know, a number that doesn't have any decimal part, like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or it can be a number that has a decimal part, like 1.56, or, you know, whatever. Also important to note that the numbers can also be negative. They don't need to be positive, they can be negative as well. Basically, you can represent any number there. There might be some numbers that might be a little bit harder to represent, like irrational numbers. But, you know, the point is that usually, you know, you should store numbers in a variable whose type is number. Then you have string. String basically means string of characters, because it's supposed to represent, you know, a group of characters tied together. Like, for example, you can say that, I don't know, bicycle is a string of characters because it's, you know, basically formed by B, Y, C, you know, and the rest of the letters that form the word bicycle. I guess you can say that they are words, but that's not really true. You can put an entire test in a string variable. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a word. You can store anything that can be typed in a keyboard. The difference obviously with numbers is that, you know, you can still type numbers on a string. But, you know, hey, chill guy, thanks for the 5 bits. How is it going? And thanks also for the follow. Really appreciate it. You know, while I'm tryharding this boss, I'm trying to explain the basics of programming because I sadly have nothing better to do. So, you know, you're interested in that, then I'm glad. Because I know that listening to someone explain programming without actually showing anything might be a little bit of a pain in the ass. But yeah, I really don't know what else to talk about. So, you know, I mean, especially after so many hours with this boss, I kinda run out of topics, right? So, yeah, I guess programming it is. What was I saying? String of characters? Yeah, string of characters. You can just store anything there that can be typed by a keyboard, including numbers. But the difference is that numbers that are, you know, contained within a string, they cannot be used for arithmetical operations. The problem is JavaScript does allow you to do that because, you know, it will make the conversion on the fly. So it basically can turn a string into a number if, you know, if it notices that it can do it. But that's what you should not do. You shouldn't try to do that. Like, you should only do arithmetical operations with variables whose type is number and not any other thing than that. And after string you have boolean. Boolean is, well, boolean is pretty easy to explain. It's a type of data that has only 2 possible values, true or false. It doesn't have anything else than that. So basically, when it comes to a boolean, the idea is that there is only those 2 values. You might ask, why will you want to do that? Right? Why will you want to have a boolean when you can basically store whatever you want in a string? Well, the thing about booleans is that the fact that they only accept 2 possible values, true and false, is that they are used for conditional statements. That's something that you should be seeing, you know, after this, right? But basically, conditional statements get executed only when the statement evaluates to true. If it evaluates to false, it won't be executed. It's called Boolean because there was a guy called George Boole that pretty much invented that two-state logic, that binary logic. I mean, well, not like he invented binaries, but he pretty much applied them to computers. So yeah, the point is, that's what a Boolean is. True or false, nothing else. The big catch about types of variables in JavaScript is that, as I said before, differently from any other language, you don't really have to, you know, specify the type of a variable. So you don't really need to say explicitly this variable is a string, this variable is a number. No. You just declare the variable without any type. But the point about this is that every variable should only store one type of data. If you are declaring a variable that is gonna store a number, it should always store a number until the end of the program. It should never store a string. If you want to store a string, you declare another variable. Same with Boolean, of course. There are more types of data other than those three, but those are the three most basic. So yeah, JavaScript allows you to store different types of data in one variable. Don't do that. Only VLANs do that. So yeah, use the type of data, properly. Commonly known as if. Here, Colo mentions if as a conditional statement. Yes, if is pretty much the most basic conditional statement that there is to find, but there are others. Like, for example, well, there are others that are not only conditional, but they are also loop statements. Like, for example, while and for. They are supposed to be loop statements, but they answer to a condition. So they are like a mixture of both. But then again, you can't have a loop statement without a condition, so, The point is, yes, conditional statement. I don't know if the next thing to explain will be conditional statements, though. I think that the next thing to explain, like, once you explain sentences, once you explain variables, and once you explain type of data, you should probably explain operations that you can do with those variables. Isn't it the primary job of every JS developer to change a nice and readable if into the longest possible ternary operation? Yummy, we can't talk about ternary operations right now. Dude, ternary operations is basically one of the last things that you're gonna see on the basic package of things to learn about programming. Ternary operations, not yet. But speaking of operation, the next thing to look for is definitely operations. What kind of operations can you perform with variables? Well, quite some, but basically you have two really basic operations that you can perform with variables, which are basically, well, I mean, assignments is obviously the most important one. You assign a value to a variable. You can do this either explicitly by typing the value in the code, or you can assign the value of one variable to another variable. And the operator that you need to do this is the equals operator. So basically, in the left side of the statement, the left side of the sentence, you have the variable that you want to assign the value to. In the middle of it, you have the equals operator, and in the right side, you have the value that you want to assign. As I said, that value can either be an explicit value, as in a number or a string, or it could be the value of another variable. So in either case, what you're supposed to do is assign the right side of the argument to the left one. That's one operation. Then you have arithmetical operations. As the name will suggest, it's operations that include numbers, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and all of that mathematical shit, as people would like to say. So if you want to, you can grab two variables, right, and add their values into another variable. And in that case, you will basically combining two types of operators, an arithmetical one and an assignment. So you can have a variable called number 1 and another variable called number 2. They don't necessarily need to be saving the value 1 and the value 2, that's just their name. And you can have another variable called number 3. You can have a statement like number 3 equals number 1 plus number 2. When I say plus, I literally mean the plus sign in your keyboard. That allows you to add the value of the second variable to the value of the first one. And in this case, the result is assigned to a third variable. So you can do that with pretty much every arithmetical operation. Sometimes it's not even necessary to assign it to another value. Sometimes you can use it, just in the middle of a conditional statement. Like, for example, you want to evaluate if the multiplication of two numbers is equal to another number, right? In that case, you don't necessarily need to assign that value to other variable, right? But yeah, basically arithmetical operations are that, pure mathematics. And then the last set of basic operations are logical operations, which you could also call Boolean operations, because their whole purpose is to know if something is the way it is or not. So, for example, there are some times where you want to know if the value of a variable is, 5, right? You want to know if the value of a variable is 9 or 5, sorry. You want to know if it's 5, right? So the way to do that is by using the equal logical operator, which is different from the equal operator to assign a value. So if you want to compare two values, like I should say, you use the equal symbol twice. You do equal, equal. So that way, the result of that operation is a boolean, basically true or false. So if you do something like number 1 equals 5, you're basically asking if the value of the variable number 1 is 5. If it is 5, you do something. If it's not, you do something else. Or not, you do nothing maybe. But the point is that gives you a true or false value. Obviously, true if it evaluates as, 5. If the value of the variable number 1 is 5, then, the result is gonna be true. If it's not, the result is gonna be false. There are multiple logical operators, but the basic ones are basically the equal operator, the greater than operator, the less than operator, and then you have the negation operator. Basically, well, lower than and greater than, I think they are self-explanatory, but they basically evaluate if a number is greater than another number or not. Same with less than, right? You can also say greater or equal, and for that you type in your keyboard the greater than symbol and an equal, and that means greater than or equal to, right? And then the operator that negates is the exclamation mark. By doing an exclamation mark, you are basically reversing the value that you were gonna get. So for example, if instead of doing number 1 equals 5, you do number 1 exclamation mark equals 5, you are not asking if it's equal, you're asking if it's different than 5. So in that case, if number 1's value is 5, the result is gonna be false instead of true, because you're asking if it's not equal to 5. That operator can also be put at the start of a Boolean operation. So for example, you can pretty much put at the beginning of something like, I don't know, number 1 greater than number 2. If you put at the beginning of that statement an exclamation mark, you're basically gonna turn whatever result you will get from that into the opposite. So if the result for that was true, with the exclamation mark you're gonna turn it into a false. So yeah, basically that's the logical operators. And knowing that, what else should be the next step? I think the next step should be conditional operators, right? I mean, that's pretty much the most important part after knowing variables, right? Well, as Mr. Colo mentioned, there are there are statements that evaluate if something is one way or another, right? Well, that's the if statement. The if statement, what it does is, if a sentence, or if a logical operation evaluates as true, what you do is execute all the code that is contained in that inside that if block, right? And basically the format for that is you use the word if, literally you type if, you open parentheses, open and close parentheses, and inside of those parentheses you put a logical operation, like the one that I just explained. When you do that, after closing the parentheses, you open a curly bracket. Curly brackets in programming are mostly used to contain code. Regardless of where they are used, that's pretty much their functionality in most programming languages. Whatever it's inside curly braces is a set of sentences. So basically a piece of code, right? So what do you do with that piece of code? Well, in the case of the if statement, everything that is inside those curly braces is gonna be executed only if the if statement is true. Only if what's inside of those parentheses evaluates as true. Obviously, if it evaluates as false, it's not gonna get executed. And instead, whatever comes outside of the if statement, immediately after, that's what's gonna get executed next. Wait a minute. Oh, you wanted to put the sleeping face emote? Damn, I'm really glad that you are enjoying the lesson, Yami. It's called Resident Sleeper, you fucking dumbass. Dan... motherfucker. I mean, I'm trying to go as slow as possible because, the things that I'm saying are obvious to you, but not obvious for literally everyone that doesn't know about programming. But yeah, that's basically the purpose of the if statement. There is another word that usually goes alongside the if statement, which is else. Else is a statement that basically you need to put it right after you close the curly braces of the if statement, right? And as you might have guessed, that else basically means that if the expression was not evaluated as true, if the expression between brackets, between parentheses in that if statement evaluated as false, you are gonna execute the code that is in that else statement. Just like the if statement, you need to put curly braces, not parentheses. You need to just put curly braces because you're basically saying if what is up there doesn't happen, right? So yeah, every time the things in the statement in the if parenthesis is false, what's gonna get executed is the else statement. And obviously, just like the if statement, that just contains piece of code. It can be anything, right? But it's basically choose, you know, one or the other. At least we know he wouldn't be a fastest planer. I definitely wouldn't. I can tell you that. Hey Thundit, how is it going? I'm here playing one of the games that you recommended to me. Yeah, I was talking about programming. More importantly, since I ran out of topics to talk about, I was trying to teach basic programming. Obviously, I don't really expect anyone to be watching this to actually, you know, learn what I'm saying. But you know, when you don't have anything to talk about, might as well just give programming classes, right? I mean, it's the most logical outcome, right? Maybe, maybe not. But yeah. The point is, you know, at least there's something to talk about. And I gotta assume that for the lack of questions, everyone understands, right? Any questions? Any questions? Yeah, that's what I thought. Uh-oh. Ah, fuck. Uh-oh. Get fucked. That was really close. Aw, man. Gonna do me dirty like this. Ah, fuck, too high. If it was a little bit lower, I would have dodged it. I've been watching your streams while programming myself. Actually, it's good to see you playing so many fun games. Thanks. Really appreciate it. I was about to take a break from fun games after this one though. But as you can see, I'm struggling quite a bit. Yeah, I've been for quite a while here. This is a really, really hard boss. You know, possibly at the same level as Solgreen. I really gotta say that possible at the same level as Solgreen. This is fucked up. This is a really fucked up boss fight. I mean, as you can see, I'm getting the hang of it, but you know, it's tough. It's the difficulty spike of this game. Yeah, I noticed. I noticed that that's indeed the case. Well, that's what I was saying. This boss not only is harder than the rest of the game, but it's like double as hard as the rest of the game. Maybe even more, maybe 3 times as hard as the rest of the game. It's so fucked up. Such a fucked up boss fight. But, you know, that's what I like about fun games. If I gotta be completely honest with you, as I said in the beginning of the stream, this is pretty much my favorite part about the game. I mean, it has some really questionable stuff like reversing your controls at the end. That's incredibly fucked up. But you know, I think it's more or less a well done boss fight with that one exception. I mean, you know, I think it's well done. So yeah, it's definitely my favorite part in the game. I can definitely tell you that I didn't really enjoy the rest of the game almost at all. So it's great to see that there is this at the end. Because, you know, It is something that is, well, obviously pretty frustrating, but pretty enjoyable as well. I think it's less of a difference in Lunatic. Yeah, I know that this game has multiple difficulties. I definitely don't ever plan on playing that shit, but you know, it's really a challenge on normal too. Well, probably not for more experienced players, but definitely for me. Suddenly become this boss's favorite fan. No, I'm not saying that I'm, you know, a #1 fan of this boss. I'm saying that this is the best part of the game, which is really, at least to me, not saying much. You know, sadly, as I was mentioning earlier, Thunder, I really don't like this game overall. I feel like it's a pretty disappointing game, and I understand the production value is through the roof. I understand that, but in terms of gameplay, to me there is nothing surprising about this game, with the exception of this boss fight. This boss fight is definitely a surprise. Yeah, and what a surprise, right? But yeah. So to me, I really didn't like it. I really didn't like the game, but this part is the one that mostly resembles an I Wanna Be the Guy fan game. There is an extra avoidance as well after this final boss. Really? So, wait, you're telling me that I have to defeat the final boss and then do the avoidance without a save in the middle? Or are you telling me that at least... No, okay, so there is a save in the middle. Okay, well, okay, that's good to know. It's its own thing. Oh, I see. Okay, well, maybe I can see if I will do that. But you know, before worrying about that, I think I should be worrying about beating this. It's an entirely separate avoidance. Okay. But you need to beat Balak. Yeah, that's what I guessed. But yeah, as you can see, beating Balak it's been a problem, dude. My biggest problem is this fucking laser. I can't believe that laser attack is so hard. To me, it's literally the hardest attack by far, even though it's completely static. It's so hard to time my jumps properly in that attack. It's just so hard. I'm more or less getting it semi-consistently now, but it's just so fucking hard. I mean, then you have attacks like this that are complete RNG and are hard in their own right, but that laser has gotten me so many times. I've been killed by that. It's probably the attack that killed me the most. I mean, well, for sure it's the attack that killed me the most. No doubt about it. Definitely no doubt about it. But yeah, such a fucked up attack. I mean, it is the way it is. I mean, you have attacks like this that are also pretty challenging, but I think not as hard as that other one. The laser can be pretty hard, yeah. I can definitely see that. But yeah, I feel like what's really fucked up about this game, about this boss, is that reverse controls at the end. That's so unnecessary, because as we were discussing with Yami the other day, usually when a game reverses your controls, it tends to give you an attack that is easier to dodge, but obviously you have to deal with the fact that you have reversed controls, right? This boss doesn't give a fuck. It gives you reverse controls, and you have to dodge the exact same attacks that you dodge without reverse controls. No chill. Like, it expects you to dodge everything that you already dodged without them. So basically you have to throw all your muscle memory to the dumpster. Especially considering that most of these attacks are static. All that muscle memory that you built, down the toilet, down the drain. But yeah, it's pretty fucked up. But other than that, you know, it's a cool fight. I can't say that it's not. I got really salty the first time that I got to it. In fact, I got so salty that I have to preemptively end the stream because I was just incredibly salty. But I think I was mostly salty because this was unexpected. I did not expect a final boss that was this hard. But now that I know what to expect, you know, I think Influka likes making final bosses much harder than the rest of the game. Well, yeah, that's usually the fun game way. I mean, that's what Solgreen does too. Solgreen loves to do final bosses that basically shit on the rest of the game. Though I guess you can say that in I Wanna Be the Boshi, a boss like the Cheetah Man was way harder than the final boss, but that was an additional boss. It wasn't part of the main game. But you know, regardless of that, as you can see, I've been playing this boss fight for literally 10 hours, as evidenced by that timer on the left, on the top left side of the screen. 10 hours with this boss. And the way things are looking, it might be many more. It's just so fucked up. But, you know, I know I can do this. I got this boss down to 43 points of health. And I know that that's one of those things that is so close yet so far. I understand. But I definitely can do it. I just need the best attempt that I can imagine. And you know, I will be able to do it. Well, obviously that's asking for a lot. Yeah, I just need the best attempt. But you know, the point is, that I can do it. Now I know that I can do it. Before I had my doubts. I was like, maybe I need another weapon, or maybe this is just too hard for me. But after I seen that attempt and being so close, I definitely know that this is possible. But it's gonna take some time. It's definitely gonna take some time. And it already took enough time, but it's gonna keep going. It seems that it's just gonna keep going. But you know, that's the beauty of fun games. The challenge is just too big. You won't get challenges like this from almost any other game. That's the beauty of it. Good luck, I believe it's gonna happen soon. Thanks. I appreciate the optimism, but I don't know, dude. I mean, I don't like to exaggerate, right? But regardless of how close I've been, I could pretty much take one more week to defeat this boss. I could pretty much you know, still be pretty far. How do you like the design of the boss, by the way? You mean the visual design? I don't know. It's pretty generic. I mean, just like every boss in this game, to me they are incredibly generic. But, you know, that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it's generic. This one is a gigantic mechanical butterfly. It's alright. I mean, nothing wrong with it. Just that nothing that I will particularly remember. Well, though, I guess after fighting for so long, I will have a hard time forgetting this boss. But if it's by design alone, yeah, it's pretty forgettable. But you know, it doesn't have to be other way. It's a fucking Eva. Yeah, Colo says that it's similar to those robots of Neon Genesis Evangelion, you know? That anime about mental traumas and angels, you know? Yeah, I guess it kinda looks like one. It can look like one for sure. Wow. Fuck. I wasn't there. It reminds me a bit of Doom. Well, yeah, I was saying that it reminds me of a true last boss from Dodonpachi, because it's basically a mechanical flying insect. So yeah, in this case it will be similar to Doom because it's like a mechanical butterfly. But yeah, I guess you could say that. It's a cave-like boss. I really wonder though, was this a sprite crafted personally? Or was this sprite taken from somewhere else? Because I know the music is taken from somewhere else, but I don't know about the sprites in this game. Are they actually custom made? Or are they just taken from somewhere else and maybe slightly modified? If Luca makes their own art, I'm sure. Damn. Really? Interesting. That's interesting, especially considering that he uses music from other games. Well, I guess it's obviously different being a sprite artist than it is being a musician, obviously, but maybe he could have asked someone else to do the music. But yeah, apparently someone told me that this specific theme is from Vindictus, which is a Korean MMO. And there was a previous boss song that was literally Mushihime-sama Futari boss theme, the one with the dinosaur. So that's cool, but yeah. Uh-oh, fucking missiles again. Oh, I'm gonna die. No, I didn't die. Oh, well, I might die now. The reverse controls on this attack. Why do you do this to me, Broom? Broom. Okay, it's too hard for me to do reverse controls for that attack. Just be a graphic artist. Yeah. I mean, the only one that has been able to pull that off. Well, I mean, there were multiple people, but not many. One of them is Soon. Though it's pretty questionable when it comes to the art. But, you know, he can do... Well, I guess it's also pretty questionable when it comes to the coding. But hey, at least the games work. I'm trying to pull that off myself. Yeah, I mean, that's something that everyone that plays Soon games feels inspired to do. For sure. If you play Soon games, you want to pull that off. Pull that off is a strong wording. I mean, pull that off means successfully doing it. Oh, you're trying to say that soon. Okay, yeah, I understand. Well, as you can see, if you didn't know before, Yami is basically a Touhou hater. So obviously he's trying to talk shit about soon because, you know, he has to. I need to get better at making music now. Yeah, it's so hard though to make good music. Because, well, it's hard to make good music without knowing anything about music theory. I mean, you can still do it, but, you know, it's definitely hard. It's harder to make that. Oh, it's hard to make than bad games. I mean, it really depends. Well, it also depends on the skills of whoever does it. I mean, there are some people that don't have a natural talent for music, and it doesn't matter, right? Even if you don't have a natural talent, you can always learn, but it's obviously gonna be way harder to do so. And there are some other people that are just natural, that they start, you know, writing music and without much knowledge, boom, they got some decent sounding stuff. It's all about from person to person. But obviously making a game includes basically being able to pull off all of those arts decently. Like being able to do decent music, being able to do decent sprite work or models, whatever. Being able to program, right? It's quite a lot. Uh-oh. Gotcha. Oh man. And this RNG attack is so scary sometimes. Sometimes it's just so damn scary. You know. You gotta deal with it. Oh. Reverse. Oh, fuck. Alright, I got it. Oh man. Not the fucking missiles. Okay, got it. Whew. And why do you have to do this, bro? Fuck that attack. Any other attack will have been better than that one, dude. By the way, I recently discovered just how easy I can mod C# games based on my Godot experience. What was Godot again? You're very close. Yeah, but as I say before, it's one of those things that it's so close, yet so far. Well, at least I didn't die to the laser attack. That would have been way more frustrating, but dying at that fucking circle rotating shit. I mean, it's probably the attack that is the hardest one of the second phase, but it's so frustrating because it's all about RNG. Well, obviously you have to properly react to it, but Jesus, dude. It really is fucked up. The laser, there is not a single time where I see the laser and I don't get scared. There is not a single time where that's a thing. Okay. It's basically quick double jumping when that situation comes. They're rotating bitches. Here they come. Man. That attack, I hate it so much, dude. I just hate it. A game Enshine. I made a bullet hell mode for Celeste. Damn. Thanks for the words of encouragement. I mean, the real question here, now that I know how far I can get, is really a matter of when. Because holy shit, dude, I want to stop playing this fight. But I obviously won't stop until I win, but I want to win. But sadly, like, I don't know how many more streams of this torture are there gonna be just so I can win. But it's looking like there's gonna be a lot of them. Definitely a lot. I mean, they already are a lot. How many streams have there been for this shit? 4? I think there has been. This is the 4th stream that I'm fighting against this fucko. So, you know. Definitely quite a lot. And it kills me. The laser. It's all about delaying your jumps a lot for the laser. I mean, not so much so that it hits you before you get the opportunity to jump, but enough so you don't fall into it. It's alright. Well, Thun did another thing, you know, speaking of whenever I beat this shit, I was thinking that whenever I beat this shit, and after playing my bi-weekly, you know, racing game, Horizon Chase, after that I plan on playing Touhou fan games, but Danmaku Touhou fan games. It's been a long time since a lot of people told me to actually play Danmaku Touhou fan games, and I was like, nope. But now I feel like doing it. So if you have any suggestion, let me know. I don't know how fond you are of Touhou fan games. If you have anyone that you specifically recommend, I'll listen. Nice. Okay, reverse controls. Oh, okay. Nice. Fuck. Ah, dude. Okay. I haven't tried too many yet. I do plan on trying more myself, so I'll let you know if I find something good. Alright. Yeah, but you know, that's only if I can beat this asshole, which is looking more and more fucked up every time, dude. It really is. And today I even started the stream earlier. Well, I mean, 15 minutes earlier. just so I could have more time to beat it, but Jesus Christ, it's not working out. It's just not working out. It refuses to work out. I also really wonder what those claws are supposed to be. What I will say though is that after this game, this is the last game of this author that I'm playing. I can guarantee you that. Well, unless someone tells me that there is a game that he didn't make when he actually did it, but I'm not willingly playing any other game this guy has pulled out. I can tell you that already. It's okay. I don't know any other game after all. We will see. Well, I mean, we will especially see, because earlier I was basically planning to, well, I played some of the games that made Camellia 1, right? So maybe there might be another game that he made, and if it's semi-decent I might need to play it, but I don't know. We will see. No. Jesus Christ, this attack is so fucking asshole. By the way, they are the ones who made Camellia. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But, you know, I was planning on playing Camellia 1 eventually. I really wasn't planning to play 2 or 3. So yeah, don't worry about it. I'm fine. That's the good thing. I know I'm hearing everyone warn me that Camellia 1 is trash, but you know, I also might have a similar opinion about this game, and yet everything thinks otherwise, so you know, we don't have to agree. Camellia 2 and 3 are better if you are already an experienced player, if you ask me. Yeah, I'm definitely not an experienced player, so that's definitely why I'm going for the first one. I mean, a lot of people say that Camellia 1 is absolute trash, but at least it's not as hard as 2 and 3. So that already is a pretty tempting offer for me. Obviously, I'm not gonna play it anytime soon, especially not after this game, but, you know, it's there. It's a plan. I want to grab whoever designed that laser attack and force him to dodge it 100 times in a row. Come on. Dodge that 100 times in a row, you bitch. I wanna see you do it. Wanna see you do it. I also wanna see your face when you do it. Because you can definitely see mine. A laser is a problem even for speedrunners. It's just extremely precise. That's the thing, it's static. I'm pretty sure there is no randomness factor, but it's so precise to do. It's such a precise shot That's the problem. At least it's not random. If it was random on top of being incredibly precise, it would be like in a top 10 shittiest attack in a fun game, but at least it's static. So you know, you should, well, quote unquote, just have to worry about getting it right. Let's start with the little jumps. Okay. Hey Kyle, how is it going? There is a strategy for it to make it more consistent with the timing. Well, regardless of what the strategy is, I've been spending so much time in the strategy that I'm using right now that I don't want to change the strategies. I don't think I can get more consistent than what I'm currently doing. If I use anything else, I will have to practice that, and I really don't want to do that after I've been using these strategies for so long. It relies on some visual and sound cues. Well, I use visual cues. When the warning laser is about to get straight, that's when I try to start jumping. And then I try to delay my double jumps as much as I can, just so I get the refresher in the last moment. That's my strategy. I don't know if it's the best one, probably not, but had to order a case for a client, but all shops have zero stocks. What kind of case? What do we mean when we say case here? Because I think there are many things that could be considered a case. I mean, a PC case? Oh, I see. Okay. Truck drivers are on break. Well, in general, it's gonna be pretty hard to find stock of imported parts in these pandemic times. Thankfully, I'm not really doing it myself. I'm still using the same computer that, you know, I had for a long time with some, you know, differences, but those differences I bought them before the pandemic even started. GPU prices are so inflated. Yeah, of course. They are definitely incredibly inflated. That's the reason why, well, not only GPU, CPUs, everything is inflated. And that's because, you know, they are hard to obtain, and most importantly, they are in high demand because of all the stay-at-home stuff, right? So yeah, I'm definitely not buying anything unless it's necessary, and I really hope it's not. I really hope I don't have the necessity of buying any hardware component during this pandemic. You never know. But hopefully it doesn't happen. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, fuck me. Oh, fuck me twice. That's so okay, calm down. The FX is working hard. CPU is like 10% more expensive here than in Amazon after fees, but GPUs are like 70% more expensive. Interesting. Especially interesting after Nvidia announced, you know, the new series of GPUs. I have to buy a laptop for working and a really good one. Well, as we say before, if you have money to buy all those fucking retro consoles and those retro games that are worth a fortune, I'm pretty sure you can afford a fucking laptop, you know? Don't hit the keyboard. You know, the keyboard, I need to check how expensive this keyboard is. I mean, it shouldn't be any expensive, but you never know. I mean, this is like the cheapest membrane keyboard that you could get that is not a Chinese knockoff. I mean, so you know. Well, and I still have my doubts about that. I mean, it's Logitech and everything, but you know. Yeah. I really wonder how expensive it is. Oh. Nice. Nice, you almost got me. You almost got me. This shit again. Wow, I didn't jump and it still worked. Nice. No, dude, I can't die there. How the fuck am I gonna die to that attack, dude? How are you gonna die to that shitty ass attack, dude? Come on. Are you really gonna do that to me? You're gonna die there. Invest in a punching bag. Will be a good investment, yeah. Logitech makes good mouse and keyboard, headphones not so much. Nah, I was mostly saying the Chinese knockoff thing because of how incredibly cheap it is. Like, it's so cheap, or at least was so cheap, I don't know how much it is right now, that you might even think that it's a knockoff, but it's supposed to be the real thing. It's just that, you know, it really doesn't have anything special. It's literally just a generic membrane keyboard, so, you know, not like you can expect much else. I mean, it will be really not a good idea to ask for a long sum of money for a keyboard like this. I mean, who the fuck will buy it? Well, I guess offices will buy it. Probably. Sounds like a plausible idea. Okay. Oh, nice. Uh-oh, that's a bad combination. That was a pretty dangerous way to approach that. Oh man, you're really gonna do the reverse with this attack. Alright, I got it. Barely though. Jesus Christ. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. I should have gotten greedy. See, this is where I should have gotten greedy. And instead I tried dodging. I should have gotten greedy and I didn't. If I have gotten greedy, I would have killed him before he had the chance to shoot. But I didn't, because last time I got greedy, I got killed by it. And I can't believe I died in that attack. That really, really simple attack. I'm so pissed off, dude. That would have been it. That will definitely have been it, dude. That's literally 1%. Okay. Yeah, I know, when it comes to hardware, it's all about investigating before buying. You will have reached the second phase. Well, thankfully that's where it's supposed to end. So, at least there is that, but Jesus Christ, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That will have been it. I just needed to get greedy. But how am I supposed to know that that's the attack that's coming up? You can't. Well, then again, every single attack on that is part of the first phase is an attack that gives you time to react. So I guess I can get greedy if it's an attack from the first phase. Yeah, I think I can get greedy in every single attack, no matter which one it is. The second phase, though, it's different because one of their attacks is so fast that if you get greedy there, you're gonna get killed. I even dodged that static attack that I can never dodge with reverse controls. Uh-oh. Okay, I'll take that. I'll definitely take that. The fact that you got up to that point means that you're almost there. Yeah, but it's pointless. It's pointless if you can't finish it off. Yeah, I know. It means that I can do it, but it doesn't mean much. Like, I know I can do it. The point is, getting that close is just pointless in a fight like this. The boss likes attacking style UFO in your PC. You're getting more consistent. I'm trying to, but man, this fucking laser attack, dude. That laser attack The creator deserves to eat that laser attack in real life. I'm just kidding, okay? I was just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't wish that to anyone, okay? I was just making a joke in bad taste, okay? Just saying before Twitch gets angry. It's not pointless. No, I was saying pointless as in, you know, it doesn't really mean that I'm gonna do it, you know, in a short amount of time. Like, even if you are that close, it doesn't mean that you're gonna get it in a couple more tries. It just means that, well, you are close. But you had an attempt that was close, that is. I'm gonna stay there. Nice, I'll take that. I never know how to dodge that. When he does the shooting with those two lanes, I really don't know how to stay in the center without dying. I think I only been able to do it once, but not more than once. It's really hard to do. So I think what you need to do is do a short jump. I don't think you need to double jump. If you double jump, I think the only thing you're doing is increasing your chances of dying. You just need to do a short jump in the right moment. Double jumping is just really adding unnecessary difficulty to the jump. That was close. I can't believe this is the attack that killed me in that attempt, dude. That's the attack that killed me in that attempt. It's so sad. It's so fucking sad. I'm just at a loss of words for that. That was the attempt. Everything went right. I just fucked up at the end because I got nervous, of course. I mean, how wouldn't I get nervous? Yeah, I know. It happens to the best of us, but it's so sad. I could have been free from this piece of shit, and yet I will need to keep trying it just because of that fail. It's so hard to get that out of your memory. It's so hard to forget that you got an attempt that could mean that you can just stop. Well, I mean, I can still stop, but I don't want to. Not until this shit is dead. In any case, I'm really sad right now, because that most likely means at least another stream of this shit, and I really want to stop. Like, it most likely will mean that. I mean, I still have hope that I can defeat this thing in the little bit of time that I have left today, but I don't know. No. The interesting thing about the attacks on the second phase is that they are supposed to represent the attacks of every boss in the game. That's a pretty cool detail. It's kinda like having a boss rush at the end without really having a boss rush. It's well executed. Seems that trying to get rid of one of them as fast as I can even... Nah, dude, you have to be shitting me. Today I learned that China banned the letter N for a while. Damn. And the letter N? I wonder why. I mean, I could think of a reason, but I don't think they will care about that, right? It's probably another reason. Yeah, it's probably another reason. I mean, that sounds like something Twitch will do. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's unrelated to what I'm thinking. Baby Kim Chaya. Yeah, maybe they did. Now they are the People's Republic of Chaya. It's a good name. Chaya. I dig it. Just ban every letter. Well, they are about to do that. I mean, if they keep going the way they are going, that doesn't seem like, you know, like an unexpected thing. People's Republic of China. Why Cheyenne? That's such a random ass thing to say. What does Cheyenne have to do with this? What the fuck? I thought that was just called Colombia. I didn't know they changed the name. Good shit. Cheyenne, what a legend. I mean, he could have his own country of fangirls. He definitely has the following to have a country on his own. Well, I say fangirls, but you know. I must put this home. I mean, I maybe need to. I also need this asshole to stop being such an aggressive bull. This is a really aggressive bull. It's pretty hard to pacify. In fact, it almost seems like I'm the one that is the bull, and this gigantic shithead is just the toreador. Really feels like that's the case. He's just, you know, taunting me, trying to make me think that I have a chance, but in the end, the game is rigged from the start. The game is just rigged from the start. But you know, we will see. I mean, you know that it might not be the majority, but there are some times where the bull wins, right? I can win here. But damn. It's definitely been a lot of runs trying to chase the red. And yet I can't get it. Calm down. Calm down. Don't take it out on the keyboard. The keyboard is not at fault. Well, I'm pretty sure I also can't take it out on the actual... on who is at fault here. I don't want to go to jail, but him. It will be a nice thing. I'm kidding, okay, Twitch? I'm just kidding. Unbelievable. I can't believe I was that close. That's so fucked up. That's so demoralizing. I'm pretty sure you couldn't even get to them. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, with this whole pandemic situation, it definitely wouldn't be possible. Also, I have a question. You mentioned an extra avoidance after this. I mean, that was something unrelated to the final boss. But my question is it as hard or harder than this boss? That's an interesting theorem. It's not easy. Well, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and not do it then. Thank you very much. You can give it a try if you want. Dude, I'm pretty sure that after beating this boss, the first thing that I want to do is press escape, selecting the whole folder, pressing delete, and then go to my desktop, right-clicking the recycle bin, and you know the rest. That's probably what I'm gonna do. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that, but it's definitely a pretty strong wish. And burn the hard drive. Well, the joke's on you because I'm not using a hard drive. I'm using a solid state drive. So yeah, not possible. Well, you know, I guess I can burn the SSD, but I don't really feel like burning my SSD if it's possible. But I know what else I want to burn right now. I'm not gonna say it because it's against TOS. Remember to throw the computer outside of the window. Yeah, just for good measure. An AV with big tits. And I'm pretty sure I was about to say something that I also think is against TOS, so let's just leave it there. But you know, basically what I was about to say is that I'm pretty sure finding someone, you can find someone with those characteristics if it works for the church. I'm just saying that. I'm not gonna say why or anything like that. No, just saying that. Because you know. But it's okay. Well, I think before worrying about the big dicks part, I will worry about the ability to throw an area exorcism. That seems to be a little bit harder to find. I was about to press reset because I think I wasn't gonna make... I thought I wasn't gonna make it. Yeah, that's a little bit exaggerated, don't you think? Almost 2 lasers in a row. Don't you think you're a little sack of shit for doing that? Okay. Okay. Alright. You cannot believe how salty I am right now. I don't think you can imagine how salty I am right now. I really don't think you can. I'm really salty. Pretty salty. I did not mean to do that. I fucked up. I went out of the level because I pressed Q. Well, that's not a problem usually, because you can just get back into it. But just in case I close the game because I didn't want it to save it. You know, the best thing that could happen right now is that the save got corrupt. So that way, I don't know about the save getting corrupt, but I opened the game twice. Sadly, I think it saved it. Oh, it actually didn't! Nice! I closed the game just at the right time so it doesn't save me quitting it. Nice. Good shit. Reminds me of the Camellia 2 final boss as it used this music for it. I couldn't imagine. That's what you get for playing skill-based games. Skill-based games, huh? More like bullshit-based games. Which is what this is. Man, I gotta say, I'm so salty I don't even want to talk. That's so sad. RNG is skill based as well, it just depends on how well balanced it is. Yeah, whatever. The point is, more than skill based, this is bullshit based. It just happens that you need skill to get through the bullshit. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, as I said, you get that if you do a single jump. If you do a single jump, you can get that one. Nice. Fuck. Oh, not this one again. I guess that's why I got killed the last time, with this attack because I got reverse controls and I put myself in a really bad position. That might be the case. Jesus fucking Christ. And of course there comes the obligatory death to the fucking laser. No, you piece of shit. You're gonna stay the way you are, like that. I don't need to break something else, something other than the keyboard. Don't make me break you too. People wouldn't be able to listen to me, which might be for the best, especially when I'm salting. Well, miraculously the keyboard is still not broken. But it might be. It's just some time. You never know. It's okay. We're gonna try to not break it, if it's possible. Just remind me the name of this guy. The name of the guy that made this game. Something about Luca. I know that. I don't remember how it started though. But just need to remember it. Just so I can avoid Lookout. Just so I can avoid mistakes like this in the future. Just for that. Macri. Huh. Nah. He's civil engineer. Hey Luna, how is it going? Thanks for the raid. Don't mind me if I'm a little bit salty. As you know, the logical result of tryharding this fight for 11 hours. Not in a row though. Those are 11 hours in the span of 4 different streams. But it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll be fine. By the way, how did your stream go? I think you were playing Fantastic Danmaku Festival too. You know, I wish I was playing that. Or I mean, I wish I was playing anything other than this right now. But I'm not. FDF2 and EOSD. It really makes me want to play them. Or rather, it really makes me not want to play this instead. 1-2-bit extra stage in EOSD. Well, the extra stage in EOSD is about, you know, just like any extra stage, you need to memorize the patterns, you need to understand the gimmick, and then, well, it's basically just being able to pull off the dodges. But, you know, I think the biggest obstacle that a lot of people have with the extra stage of EOSD is the Maze of Love, which is, I think, Flandre's fourth spell card. You have to rotate in that spell card. It's hard to notice at first, but you basically have to rotate, you know, in circles with flank being in the center. So, you know, it's a little bit hard, but once you understand it, it's a different thing. I think some people say that it has a blind spot. I don't really know much about blind spots, so I wouldn't really know. Mashing, dodging, Maze of Law. I mean, I do. I don't really know about the blind spot, if there even is a blind spot. Not staying at the bottom. Can you even dodge Maze of Love at the bottom? Like without a... I'm pretty sure you need a blind spot, right? I think. I'm not sure. I never tried to dodge that with a blind spot, so I wouldn't really know. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is that extra stages are all about, you know, learning gimmicks. After you are able to identify the gimmicks and get used to them, it's way easier than doing the normal game. But yeah, you need to first identify all these gimmicks, which can be pretty hard in itself, of course. Ooh, that was really close. Nice. I learned that the extra stages have some of the hardest timeout phases. Yeah, but only if you really want to time it out, which you shouldn't do unless you really are, you know, pretty experienced. And even then I wouldn't even recommend to do it. There's nothing good coming from that. Well, I guess other than the challenge of doing it, you know. Other than that, not really much more. I don't know how that one worked, but I'm glad. That ground explosion kills you often. You mean the laser? It's the laser the one that kills me often. The laser is the hardest attack, by far. Everything else, you can manage it more or less, but that laser is just out of control, dude. That laser deserves to... well, whatever. It just doesn't need to be here, what I'm trying to say. Yeah, some timeout phases might be harder than PDH. Mostly because PDH was kinda thought with timeout in mind, so it doesn't want to make it really hard, because a lot of people that don't have enough power and do a point device run might find themselves in the situation where they will time out. So PDH, you know. PDH being easy on timeout makes sense. Well, any spell card from that game being easy on timeout makes sense. After all, there is a lot of people that play point device on Touhou 15 and obviously they struggle a lot. Oh man. There you go. The missiles. Here is when he's gonna start switching the movement. Gotta be ready for it. That was really close. Oh man. Why do you have to use that fucking attack as the last attack? Why couldn't you have given me the missiles or some shit like that? Why it had to be that one? Literally the hardest attack after the laser. Literally. Timing out PDH as not so experienced player sounds questionable. I mean, you can time it out by spamming bombs. You don't need to do a no bomb. I've been getting a lot of PDH captures recently, by the way. Yeah, can't say I relate, but you know. Good stuff. Wish I will be getting as good in this fucking boss fight. That also doesn't seem to be the case. It's alright. The interesting thing is that in the previous run, he did the laser attack only once. Only once. And I really hope that he also does that here. I don't want this more than once. They are getting better. I don't know, bro. I don't really think I'm getting better. In fact, I don't think you can get any better than... Okay, yes, you can get any better than... but I mean, I can get any better than this. It's just that I need a run where I can apply this and just not die. Well, yes, just don't die, right? But I can't get any better than this. This is as better as I can get. The thing here is, if I can get that miraculous run, that with how I am right now, I can win. I don't really think I can get any better than I am right now. I basically can consistently do every attack except the laser and the rotating circles. I might fuck it up in another one here and there, but they are pretty much consistent, so I don't think I can get any better than this. It's just having a run where everything goes right. If I can get a run where everything goes right, I can win. But I don't think I can get any better than this. This might just be my limit. But I think this is enough. Well, obviously this is enough to win. But I need that run. I just need that good run. But I definitely don't think it gets any better than this. Not from me. From a speedrunner, sure. From me, nope. As I say, this attack and the one with the laser are the two that I struggle with. Other than that, I can most likely do all of the other attacks at least semi-consistently, which is pretty good. Oh man, that's such a bad timing for the reverse. That really killed me? Are you shitting me? I didn't jump fast enough? It's coming soon. It might be coming soon, but the thing that I fear is that it might not come on this stream. I really want to get it on this stream. I don't want to stream this shit any longer, but I don't think it's coming this stream, and that's what's upsetting me the most. That's what's making me so upset. I really want to defeat him today and forget that he exists. But dude. It's not looking like it. No, I mean, I think you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I definitely know I can do this. What I'm saying is that I can't get any better than this. So basically it's all up to the RNG and not fucking up to win. It's all up to that. I definitely can do it. That's obvious, but you know, I need that run. I mean, I say that that's obvious not because I'm pedantic or anything, it's because I literally got him down to 1%. So it is obvious that I can do it, but I need that run. I need that run where everything goes right. Where not only the attacks are the ones I want, but also I don't fuck up any attack either. And that's really hard, especially considering how many attacks he does in one fight. Uh-oh. I'll take that. Too fast. You can also get better. Nah, I don't think so. If I couldn't get any better at the laser after this much time, I'm not gonna get any better at it. And about the rotating circles, I think that I got as good as I can get. The other attacks are not that big of a deal. They are pretty easy. Now that I've done them so much, I mean. Obviously I can still fuck it up, but the attacks that don't enter into those two, like any attack that is not those two, it's no problem. Not an issue. Those two are the problem though. Funnily enough, in that really good run that I got, I died to one of the supposedly easy attacks. So that's why I mean I just need the run. And that's the run that not only gives me easy attacks, but I also don't fuck it up. And that's just really hard to achieve. 2-pack? What about 2-pack? You want me to put 2-pack music? I don't think I can do that. I mean, I don't think the Twitch legal department is gonna be happy about that. Well, the copyright department, which might be pretty similar to the legal one, I think. I don't know how they work, but it might be a similar one. Fuck me, dude. But yeah. Though, you know, I will take 2-pack music all day to this fucking orchestra. This is the kind of orchestra that it's so fucking generic. Like, you can like it, but it's one of those that if you listen to it, you won't be able to recognize. Like, if I listen to this theme somewhere else, like, you know, not tomorrow because I will still remember it, but like, if I listen to this theme 1 month from now, I wouldn't be able to recognize it because it's so fucking generic. Which doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, but definitely forgettable. The music magic begins. I mean, there's nothing special about this theme. There's something that you could listen to in a fucking Marvel movie. It is the typical generic orchestra that everyone complains about. And everyone complains about because yes, you can recognize it outside of that. Unless you somehow try to memorize it. Otherwise, there is no way you can recognize this by yourself. It's just not possible. I mean, I don't wanna underestimate musicians. Maybe they can. Jesus Christ. Well, I am pretty sure if you are the composer of this, of course you will be able to recognize it. You know. Any normal listener, I can tell you that they probably don't. Which is different from many other themes. I mean, you can, for example, clearly remember, you know, Touhou themes, right? So I guess that's an extreme comparison. I mean, comparing anything to Touhou music is an extreme comparison. But you know, those are themes that you will quickly recognize. Unless it's one of those remixes that basically says, yes, this is a Touhou remix, and then it's like nothing like the actual song. They just use Touhou to get popularity. Remember, I think the last time I heard it was a while ago. Well, can definitely say the same. I mean, I'm not saying that you don't remember it once you see this. I mean that if you listen to this randomly, right? Like music randomly pops up in your head and it's this theme, I'm pretty sure you won't remember. Yes, you fucking dumbass, it's possible to combine those words because of Japan. Not everything is based on your shitty ass country. That is my own country too, by the way. Before someone calls me a bigot, I can talk shit about it because I live here. So yeah, not everything has to be about this country. In Japan, you can definitely use Touhou to get popularity. For sure. I remember this music pretty well. Alright. Amelia 2 final boss was questionably for me, probably. Well, I'm pretty sure that if you listen to this music in more than one place, you will remember, kind of like Solgreen's theme. The only reason why I could remember Solgreen's theme now is because I listened to it in 2 different circumstances. So yeah, obviously if you listen to one theme from different sources, eventually you're gonna get used to it. So you know. I'm talking about only listening to it right here. If I only listen to this theme right here, there is no way I'm gonna remember it at all. On its own, I'm not sure. No, it's pretty hard to remember themes that are just literally orchestras without any noticeable melodic shift, or without any aggressive melodic shift. Like, you know, I'm not saying every orchestra is generic. I'm saying orchestras of this type are generic. Orchestras that just have overplayed sounds like this, that try to be, you know, try to picture a hero or whatever. Which is the reason why a lot of melodies from people like Beethoven or Mozart are so recognizable. They have that aggressive rhythm that is not easy to forget. Like, they dare to do stuff that other people didn't dare to. And they dare because, you know, for example, if you make anyone listen to this theme, it's hard that anyone is gonna tell you that this theme is bad, because it doesn't sound bad. It's a pretty safe theme. It's a pretty safe theme. But if you make them listen to a Touhou theme, for example, that can be a mixed bag. Not a lot of people are gonna appreciate the loudness of Touhou music, right? So it's all about taking risks. Clearly, whoever did this song did not want to take any risk with the composition, so it went with the most generic orchestra they could come up with. You know, a good Shunkon orchestra remix? Well, yeah, it's a remix from a Touhou theme. The Lunatic version of this boss has different music? Interesting. I'm definitely not gonna find out. Well, wait. So there is a hard version of the game and there is a Lunatic version of the game? Is that how it works? A hard version and a Lunatic version? Interesting. I thought that hard and Lunatic were the same, but they are actually 2 different. Damn, who the fuck will want to beat this game 3 times? I'm already questioning myself for even beating it once, and I still didn't do it, by the way. And people are out there beating it 3 times? Well, I mean, I can't judge. Same thing they will say about Touhou after all. So, you know, it's understandable. Oh, you don't need to beat the game 3 times. I see, you just need to beat the extra. Okay, I gotcha. Gotcha. Well, I guess that's more like it. Beating it 2 times is kinda like beating a New Game Plus, and that's more relatable. I definitely wouldn't beat this shit 2 times, unless I really have nothing else to do, which I doubt. I probably have something better to do than beating this game twice. I corner myself, man. Alright. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream. I'm really pissed off. I really wanted to forget about this fucking piece of steaming shit today, but I can't. Seems like we will have to keep going for another stream. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it that it's gonna be that way. Seems like it has to be that way. Unbelievable. I really want to have a limit though. I don't want to try this endlessly. In fact, Wings of B, the boss that I gave up in, I also was really close to beating it, and I still gave up because it didn't look like I could beat it anytime soon. So the same thing could happen to this one, even if I don't want it to happen. You know. The thing is, a lot of challenges that I gave up in, I usually was pretty close regardless. Like, I mean, in PDH I was really close to getting it. But, you know, it's pointless. It's pointless that you are pretty close. If you don't do it, it's as good as dying in the first attack. It doesn't work that way. Like, this isn't just some kind of game that you can just tank your way through victory, and if you were almost about to win, you just needed to tweak a little bit of your play to win. This piece of shit is something that is just as dangerous regardless of how close you are to beating. Just as dangerous and just as different. You know what will be pretty nice? The same way that I wanna reach the moon added in the 2 final bosses 3 lives instead of just 1. That could be something that this boss could have done. So instead of needing to beat this boss flawlessly, you could have 2 hits to take. Just like I wanna reach the moon. I mean, imagine how hard I wanna reach the moon will be if that wasn't a thing. I don't even know if I would have beaten it if that wasn't a thing. So, you know, I really don't know. Damn, that really killed me. Yeah, I think I'm out. Reach the moon wasn't designed to be that incredibly hard. Well, judging from the start and pretty much the whole fucking game, I would have guessed that this game wasn't made to be incredibly hard either. But the final boss disagrees with that. But you know, I think asking for consistent difficulty in an I Wanna Be the Guy fan game is like asking for lack of bugs in a Touhou game. It just doesn't happen. Well, I mean, at least the Touhou bugs are not that game breaking. Well, they aren't even game breaking in the first place. They are just annoying. you know, they could be worse. It's really hard to take out of my mind that one attempt. That one attempt that I got so close. That one attempt. How do I forget about that? You can't. You just can't forget about that. Extra lock in SA? What? What extra lock? Is there an extra lock? Oh, that you can lock the extra stage by beating it on easy. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Oh, you wanted to unlock extra? Now let me lock it instead. Yeah, there are some pretty cool bugs. I think more than asking a game without bugs, it will be comparable to asking soon to actually fix the bugs. I think that's a far better comparison, because you really can't expect that. Ooh, that was close. A lot of Fun Games players are pretty good. Hey Yannick, how is it going? Yeah, I tend to pretend that easy doesn't exist in Touhou. It helps me sleep at night. A little bit. Not that much, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Not that much. I tried easy once. Well, no, more than once. I think I tried it in 10 Desires, in Touhou 17, and obviously in Touhou 8, because you actually need to beat the game on easy to unlock some things. So yeah. Not many other games though, I think those are the only ones that I attempted easy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Might be a good shot to do easy, no miss, no bomb. You only did easy on 8 to unlock stuff, yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically the reason why I did it on 8 and 13 is to unlock stuff. You know, basically in 13, if you want to unlock Overdrive, which is an additional difficulty only for some spell cards, what you need to do is to beat that spell card in every other difficulty. Use 100% save file. Nah, that's lame. I don't like doing things like that. I like unlocking stuff after all. And sadly that's something that kinda got lost in video games, right? I think you no longer unlock that much stuff. Well, that is unless you pay. Most of the stuff you unlock is DLC. So, you know, there is that. Ray Musi, no focus, no shot. That's really masochistic, huh? Yeah, it's pretty masochistic. You don't need to answer. I think I have my own answer there. That did not hit me. Same reason why I didn't use the score file in Sokun. Yeah, like, I don't know, dude. Unlocking stuff by playing the game is something that doesn't happen anymore in video games. And I like it. So I want to use the fact that it's there. I don't want to choose take that way, right? Just use a score file. Yeah, that's why I basically do it. Yeah, I know that you don't prefer it that way. But, you know, it's alright. Not everyone likes unlocking. Really? Same attack? At least I prefer that to the laser. Oh, good shit. Alright, that's enough. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. I'm gonna continue on the next stream, but I don't know, dude. I have the feeling that if I don't beat it on the next stream, I'm just gonna give up. I'm just gonna give up because this shit, it's not worth it. Especially from a piece of shit game like this one, it's just not worth it. So yeah. Again, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you on the next stream. So take care, everyone.